It's Angel with Arquebus, as Asiel, Timor, die, which is Latin. Um, so the function of this piece is that it created a bridge between the indigenous beliefs and Christian or Catholic beliefs. And the God that they're trying to perhaps associate this piece with is the Inca god of thunder and lightning, Ilapa. And we also think there's an appeal here with the fact that this angel with an arquebus is a warrior, which would have been popular in the Inca culture. So that's its function. Let's look more at what it is from or how it's got some context. So this piece comes from this region here, Lima and south of Lima. It's actually from the La Paz school. We don't know so who painted this, but it is very similar to a lot of pieces about these archangels. And this orange area, right, this is the land that was conquered by the Spaniards. And we just looked at a piece right from the Viceroyalty of Mexico, the frontispiece from the Codex Mendoza. And this painting is from the Viceroyalty of Peru. So the Spanish, right over here, Spain, they're Catholic, very Catholic. And the conquering of Peru happened just after the Protestant Reformation of 1517. So that context is going to play into how Catholicism is portrayed in the New World. The other context piece to know is that it had been a pattern in European art that archangels, angels who had gone bad, like Lucifer, right? The devil used to be an angel in heaven. And the expelling of these angels was a topic in art prior to it coming here to Peru. And even here we see Rubens, right? Do you remember Rubens? He painted the Medici, right, pieces, 20 of them in France. At any rate, here's Rubens painting Saint Michael here, expelling Lucifer and rebellious angels. Look at him; he is very devilish. Okay, and so this is taken from the Book of Enoch, which would be a Judaic tradition about apocryphal archangels, and this is the archangel Eliel who's being portrayed here. And so that Latin Asiel Timor die means Asiel fears God. So some real basis in European beliefs, in Christian beliefs about angels. And it's also important to know the context that after the Protestant Reformation of 1517, right, remember the Catholics, they responded with, holy cats, we're not going to take this lying down. And remember, they created all these Jesuits, and we studied this church, Il Gesù, for the Jesuits, right, with this amazing painting at the top of the ceiling with people going to heaven and people going to hell. So for the Catholics in 1517, they wanted to, right, treat the spread of Christianity as if the church has got an army of people out there spreading religion, and angels are like warriors. So when they got to Peru and to the indigenous cultures, those indigenous cultures their religions were banned. So it was really important for the Europeans to get the indigenous people to kind of glom on to Catholicism. And what better way to do that than to appeal to the indigenous culture that already existed? So form here and content, we have European influences. This is a painting or an etching, a print in Europe from the Dutch Netherlands, and it is this exercise in arms, right? It shows Europeans with the arquebus, right? The rifle that's being used here. And so Latin Latin America is copying that use of an arquebus in art. Broad rim hats, although we don't have a broad rim hat on this model here in Europe, broad rim hats came from Europe. The lace came from Europe. Probably the stockings and the shoes are also European. I don't have those on this list, but in terms of form, that's what we see. And in terms of content, it's important to know that those are European influences in Peru. So more form and content, there's a real meshing of European and Peruvian art. And so just having covered what came from Europe, what's here that came from Peru? Well, we see a fair amount of gold. Here's some other angels with arquebuses. And this gold, right? Remember we saw the water pools at the Peruvian, oh my God, I can't think of the name. Peruvian, let's just say, oh my land. Oh God, what the heck was the name of it? Where they had reflections in the water. So reflections of gold were considered pretty spiritual for Peruvians. And so, no wonder they have lots of gold here. There's excess textile in all of these, right? And that was, although we do see that on pretty wealthy Europeans, it was also a piece here in Peruvian social structure where the wealthy would wear those very elaborate tunics, right? And then we see feathers, and feathers are a native piece that's used to demonstrate nobility. We see that in the central Aztec culture, and it's true in Peruvian culture as well. So lots of feathers here, and incredible feathers sometimes on the angels' wings, right? You can see that here. They're portrayed pretty much like the birds of the Americas. And here's a couple more angels with arquebuses that you can look at. The last thing I would note here for you is that these are pretty androgynous. When we talk about form, these are androgynous angels. I refer to them in the he, male way, and that's because we mostly associate guns with men, but these are androgynous. So angel with arquebus, piece number 90, a real combination of native and European culture.